Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really unique plunge. We've got some source material that honestly challenges pretty much everything you might think about English fluency.
Oh, yeah. What we got?
It's a 15-minute YouTube special. It's called The Dark Side of English Fluency, What Schools Won't Teach You.
Okay, intriguing title.
Right, and the presentation is, well, it's very cinematic, almost rebellious. You've got the host standing in a dark alley holding a, get this, burned English textbook.
Wow, okay, so they're making a statement right from the start.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack these really bold claims and some seriously unconventional hacks they present.
Hacks?
Yeah. We want to explore what this source is suggesting about the raw truth of learning a language and maybe why it thinks traditional ways are exactly why some learners just feel stuck.
Got it. So a critique of the standard methods. Sounds interesting.
Okay, so the video kicks off with this really strong claim. It says, traditional English learning, all the rules, the tests, the proper grammar, is actually the biggest barrier to fluency.
That's a big claim. How do they frame that?
Well, it starts with distorted audio, like classroom drills, sounds of frustration. And the host's voiceover says something like, they told you English was about rules, tests, proper grammar. But what if I told you that's exactly why you're stuck?
Direct hit on the traditional system.
Right away. And then it just dives straight into what it calls dirty tricks or even illegal fluency hacks.
Illegal? Wow. Okay, so what's the implication there? I mean, why frame it like that, do you think, from a language learning perspective?
Well, it's tapping into that feeling of frustration, isn't it? That sense some learners get that the rules aren't actually helping them speak.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By calling the standard methods the problem, it sort of validates that frustration. It suggests, maybe it's not you, maybe it's the system. And that can be really appealing if you've been struggling. Appealing enough to look for illegal hacks, maybe?
Exactly. It frames these alternative methods as forbidden knowledge, something powerful that the system doesn't want you to have. It's a very compelling narrative.
Okay, so let's get into these dirty tricks. The video lays out 3 illegal fluency hacks. First one, the gangster grammar hack.
Okay, I'm listening. Gangster grammar.
Yeah, it basically says, forget strict rules. Why? Because, and I'm quoting here, real natives mess up grammar too.
Controversial, but there's a grain of truth there, linguistically speaking.
They give the example, say they was happy, people still understand you. So the idea is just talk. Don't worry about being perfect.
Pretty much. It's prioritizing communication over grammatical precision. Linguists talk about communicative competence.
Right.
This gangster grammar idea, it leans heavily into that. If people understand you, the communication was successful. It's very pragmatic. Less about following rules, more about getting your point across.
It does feel like it could lower the pressure, maybe, like giving yourself permission to just try.
Absolutely. It addresses the fear of making mistakes, which can be paralyzing for learners.
Okay, then there's the second one, the pirate pronunciation rule.
Pirate pronunciation, following the theme, I see.
Totally. This one encourages you to, quote, steal accents like gold.
Steal accents? How does that work?
Well, it suggests, if you want to sound British, just add in it to things. Or for American, kind of growl dude.
A bit simplistic, perhaps?
Maybe. But the presenter insists nobody actually speaks neutral English. Is there something to that, this idea of just grabbing bits of accents?
Well, the core idea that neutral English is largely a myth, yes, that's definitely true. Everyone has an accent.
Right.
And the idea of playing with pronunciation, of not being afraid to sound a certain way, that can be liberating. It fights against that pressure to achieve some unattainable perfect accent.
So less about literally stealing, more about experimenting, being less inhibited.
Exactly. It encourages awareness of real-world variations and maybe boosts confidence by normalizing imperfection. You're finding a voice, even if it borrows things, rather than chasing the perfect voice.
Okay. And the third hack, the mafia mindset.
Mafia mindset. Okay, this is getting interesting. What's the advice here?
This one says English isn't something you just passively learn. It's something you take.
Take, as in actively seize it.
Yeah. Claim phrases, own your mistakes, don't be apologetic. They show the presenter trying to say schedule multiple ways.
The classic schedule problem.
Right, schedule, and then they just say, screw it, say time. Find a workaround, but do it confidently.
Okay, I can see the psychology behind that. It's about agency, isn't it? Shifting from being a passive student to an active user of the language.
Taking control.
Precisely. And owning mistakes, that ties back to reducing anxiety, what Stephen Krashen called the affective filter. If you're not afraid, you're more likely to speak, to try things out. It builds resilience.
So these 3 hacks, grammar, pronunciation, mindset, they all seem geared towards just getting people to start talking and worry less.
That seems to be the common thread, yes. Reducing inhibition, prioritizing action over perfection.
Okay, this next part, it's quite something. The video shifts to what it calls the fake it till you make it lab.
Oh, a lab.
Yeah, the presenter puts on a white coat like a mad scientist and starts mixing this potion for instant fluency.
A potion. Okay, this is pure theater. What's in it?
Right, so the formula is 10% words, represented by Scrabble tiles they toss in.
Only 10%. Interesting.
Then 30% attitude, and they pour in hot sauce for this bit.
Hot sauce for attitude. Makes sense in a weird way.
And the biggest ingredient, a whopping 60% confidence. They drop in a big fake diamond for that.
60% confidence. So words are almost an afterthought here. It's all about the delivery.
Exactly. And they even warn about a side effect, sounding cooler than you are.
Haha.
And they say, if you say anything with this face, and the host pulls this totally deadpan, unshakable poker face, people will believe you're fluent. So the big question, can faking it, that confidence, actually help you make real progress? Or is it just putting on a show?
Well, it's not just a show, I don't think. Confidence plays a huge role in language acquisition. It's linked to willingness to communicate, taking risks.
How so?
Think about it. If you project confidence, even if you're unsure inside, you're more likely to initiate conversations, right? People might respond more positively. It creates a positive feedback loop.
Okay, I see that. More practice opportunity.
Exactly. It can lower that affective filter we talked about. It's a bit like behavioral activation. You act confident first, and then maybe the feeling follows. Now, obviously, confidence alone doesn't teach you grammar or vocabulary.
You still need the actual language.
Yeah. Of course. But can it break down psychological barriers and get you using the language you do have more effectively? Yes, I think it absolutely can. The sounding cooler than you are is funny, but maybe not the sustainable goal. The real benefit is reducing that self-consciousness.
So it's a catalyst? Maybe. Not the whole reaction.
That's a good way to put it. A powerful catalyst for getting started and keeping going.
Then we hit Act 3, breaking the system. And this is where it gets pretty dramatic.
More dramatic than the potion.
Oh, yeah. The presenter literally takes a baseball bat and smashes a school blackboard. Text flashes up. R.I.P. traditional learning.
Wow. Okay, subtlety is not their strong suit.
Not at all. The video says traditional advice, like learn tenses first, is just sand plate.
Strong words, so what's the alternative they offer?
They introduced the 5-word rule for survival. It says 5 phrases they claim work everywhere.
5 phrases, that's it. What are they?
Okay, they are. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, totally. Wait, what?
Wait.
No way. Cool.
Huh. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
they're common phrases.
Say it.
And they show this little sketch, a fake conversation,
Right.
where someone uses only those 5 phrases and it kind of works. It's awkward, but the conversation doesn't completely die.
Right. Well, what kind of communication is possible there? It's incredibly limited, obviously.
Yeah, you can't exactly debate politics.
No. But what it does show is the power of conversational fillers and basic interaction markers. These phrases signal engagement, agreement, mild surprise, acknowledgement.
Social grease, almost.
Exactly. Social lubricant. It keeps the interaction channel open. It highlights how much of basic chat isn't about deep meaning, but about maintaining connection, showing you're listening, being agreeable.
So it's survival, like they said.
Yeah.
Enough to get by in a very simple social situation.
Precisely. It won't get you far, but it might get you in the door, socially speaking. It demonstrates the bare minimum needed to appear interactive, which again might build a tiny bit of confidence for beginners.
Okay, and to wrap it all up,
Yeah.
the video gives viewers what it calls the fluency passport. And the host's eyes are like digitally glowing as they present these new rules.
Glowing eyes, good grief. What are these ultimate rules?
Rule number 1, talk first, apologize never.
Never apologize. Okay, bold.
Rule 2, if stuck, grin and say, you know what I mean.
The universal get out clause.
And rule 3, this one's the kicker. When in doubt, loud wrong, quiet perfect.
Loud wrong is better than quiet perfect. Wow, that really sums up their whole philosophy, doesn't it?
It really does. So How radical are these rules compared to, say, standard advice for learners? What kind of mindset does this whole passport push?
Oh, it's incredibly radical compared to traditional advice, which usually stresses things like accuracy, politeness, asking for clarification, being careful.
This is the opposite.
Completely. This passport cultivates extreme boldness, unapologetic participation, the advantage. It smashes fear. It encourages you to just do it, learn by interacting, making mistakes loudly and proudly.
So loud wrong gets you interacting, learning from feedback, while quiet perfect keeps you silent and stuck.
That's the underlying idea. Visibility over inhibition, interaction over silent study. And for breaking through initial fear, that can be incredibly effective. It's about achieving communicative momentum.
But are there downsides? Contexts where loud wrong might backfire.
Oh, absolutely. In formal situations, maybe academic work, professional settings, precision does matter. Constantly being loud wrong or just saying, you know what I mean, could lead to serious misunderstandings or just be seen as unprofessional or careless.
So it's maybe a tool for certain stages or situations, but not a universal fix.
I think that's fair. Powerful for building initial confidence and fluency in casual settings, perhaps less useful or even detrimental when accuracy and nuance are critical.
Okay, so summing up this whole deep dive then, the source material really frames learning almost like a secret society initiation, not a classroom lesson.
Yeah, very much an us versus them vibe.
It definitely mocks traditional methods that hold burn the textbook energy is palpable. And the core aim seems to be making imperfect or bad English feel powerful.
Empowering the learner by reframing mistakes and challenges as badges of honor, almost.
Yeah, and the video ends with this sort of call to action, doesn't it?
Right.
Urging viewers to subscribe for more darker secrets and forbidden English knowledge.
Right, with that warning, stay away and you'll be stuck in textbook prison forever. Very dramatic.
So it leaves us, and you, the listener, with a final thought. What does achieving fluency freedom actually mean for you?
And how might thinking about these provocative ideas, even if you don't fully agree with them, reshape your own approach? Is there value in being a bit more loud wrong sometimes?
Or is the path to fluency really somewhere between the traditional classroom and this dark side? Something for you to consider.